All right, welcome back to My Mom's Basement, ladies and gentlemen. It is Robbie Fox, it is Clem, and it is one of the listeners' favorite return guests. I would say you're up there with Dana White, our friend Jose Youngs. Everyone's asking for you to come back all the time. It's Michael Waldron coming off the heels of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the biggest movie in the world right now. Not a big deal. You might have heard of it, Doctor Strange 2. Ever heard of it? This guy,
$500 million man is in the house. And we're still rocking after weekend one.
How we doing?
We're your hype men. We're your hype men.
We are.
If you need a hype man, we're your hype men.
I need a I need an air horn. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great, man. I'm so look. I'm glad people are seeing the movie. Obviously, I'm glad people are liking it. It's like it's getting a big divisive reaction in some cases, which I think we knew it. I think we knew it would. It's like we do some crazy shit in this movie, and it's cool, man. This movie took Jesus. It was hard to make, and we made it during COVID. A lot of people worked really hard, so it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about this movie a lot, and if you haven't seen this movie, maybe see it. We're going to talk a little bit about spoilers in this interview and stuff, but I want to start here. Where does this story start for you? Because I saw the movie, loved it, and was just like, oh my God, there's so much in it. What's the first thing that comes to mind where you're like, oh, I want to do this?
Well, I guess when I came on, I mean, really, it was, okay, it's the multiverse thing, which was cool, but by the time I came on, it's like I'd done Rick and Morty, I'd done Loki. I knew like you can't, if you're just doing a run through a bunch of multiverses, you're going to end up making a cartoon, which might feel like empty calories to an audience. And so I was excited to figure out a real dramatic way to have these characters confront alternate versions of themselves. What can that force out of them dramatically? And then an idea that came early on was dream walking. And that was just super cool because that felt new. And the notion that Wanda could possess her alternate self in another universe and do bad shit there was like, oh, that's cool. That's like a cool new multiversal idea. So I was stoked about that.
That was awesome.
So you said how it was, you filmed during COVID and, all the stuff that went on. How, obviously we know the whiteboard is real. Kevin Feige, I even saw that there was a story that said Kevin Feige had a retreat and he took a board with him. I know that's the whiteboard, Waldron. I know you were kind of being coy with us last time. That whiteboard exists. When you were writing, did you already have the part of the whiteboard that said WandaVision, this is what happens, this is where we are, and you're going to go from there? Or were you kind of going a little bit off your own going into this? And did you have to rewrite it all because of the COVID nonsense?
Yeah, I mean, it's look, man, even I still haven't seen that whiteboard.
Come on.
I'm telling you, I even me, for me, the whiteboard was me sitting across from Sam Raimi on day one, Sam being like, okay, what is the multiverse? I'm going to draw a bunch of lines and I'm going to draw a bunch of fucking squiggles coming off of it. And that was our whiteboard. We knew we were going to follow WandaVision, which I'd read all the scripts and I just knew it was going to be amazing. Like I was like, all right, WandaVision is going to kick ass. Doctor Strange at this point is the anchor of the MCU. So it's okay, cool, no pressure.
Yeah, really. Your first movie ever you're writing here. And it's like, yeah, all right. The fate of the multiverse is in your hands.
Yeah. So it's like, let's try to really land the plane with those two characters. And that's what we focused on, is trying to find a great story for Wanda and for Steven. And what COVID did was it pushed out our production date 6 months, and we got to really kind of start over on the story we'd inherited, which had a lot of great, cool ideas in it. But Sam and I got to say, all right, let's make it our own. that was when we made the decision. All right, let's make Wanda the villain of this movie, and we let that be our launch pad creatively.
So you basically were like, all right, we're just going to save Mephisto for the next guy. Is that what we're basically saying?
Yeah, exactly. We're like, listen, we got to leave some meat on the bone, and Mephisto is better. It's like Jaws. It's better if you don't. It's better if you don't see it.
More scary in the shadows. Exactly.
Exactly.
But speaking of scary, you guys do some scary shit in this movie. Wanda gets scary at points. I'm sure the stands are all up in arms about it. What is your favorite moment in the movie, if you have one?
I mean, the Illuminati evisceration is.
How do you beat that? Right?
I guess that's my favorite, because it's to imagine it a couple years ago and now be here and get the audience cheer that I hoped we would get, and then hear the groans and the oh my God, wait, what? Like, sense in the theater as everybody's stomach drops is just amazing. So that in Dead Strange as well, is really cool. It's tough, and everything with Lizzie, like that's, everything with Wanda is so good.
As you described that reaction in the theater, you basically were like Kevin McAllister. You gave us that cheese pizza, and then you were Buzz McAllister and ate all the pizza right in front of our face. We're just like, exactly. What the hell?
And then everybody's Buzz puking all over the place.
Yeah, when now I got Black Bolt's brain going through his skull. Oh, that made me puke. Disgusting.
Now I have to go sleep upstairs with Fuller.
Did you write the little cartoon jingle, the little X-Men cartoon jingle? Was that in the script, or did that come later?
That was Richie Palmer, our producer, really, who's there with us in London, and that was him pushing for that. I mean, we and me and Richie and Kevin especially were like, he's got to be the comic book Xavier, and so Richie,
yellow floaty chair. You gave us the yellow floaty chair on the big screen.
Exactly, because it's like Richie's like our age, and so we grew up with that cartoon. So it's like, we got to get Danny Elfman to do this jingle, and he did. It's so cool. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's real.
I couldn't believe it was real either. And again, that was my little moment, goosebumps and like nerding out to myself. I was fist pumping. I was doing a lot of things in a theater who people were probably concerned about the big guy sitting in the corner there. But the other thing you did to Professor X is you fucking, I thought you cracked that Scarlet Witch kind of, cracks his neck. And then someone showed us a slow down version of it, and she rips his face in half. And my question to you, Michael, is did you write in your script, split Professor X's head in half? Sick son of a bitch. I want to know what you put down on the paper that Sam had to then put on the big screen to see my childhood hero just get his literal head ripped in half.
Come on, you got to be used to seeing that guy die by now.
That's true.
He'd be weirder if he didn't die. What we really wanted to get in from the 90s cartoon was his scream, his like iconic, there's like those great he has that
yes.
Character has all these like this really horrible yelling sound that he makes. I don't think so. I think it was, he just got his neck snapped, and then that was probably our visual effects team just making it even. And I even remember watching the first time that came through in the cut, I was like, wait, she ripped his head apart. Like,
you're like, maybe we went too far. I mean, that's gruesome. That is absolutely graphic. Was there anything in the movie that made it in where you were like, I can't believe that made it in? Because I feel like as far as the MCU goes, me and Clem were talking about this. This might be the most like graphic MCU movie in terms of some violence, some death scenes.
Well, I mean, the Illuminati sequence for sure, that first kill is insane.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, all that stuff is crazy. Also, Wanda's assault on Comertage, like those burnt corpses. It was so chilling being on set because we were shooting that sequence for weeks. It's like you're just walking around, there's just charred dead, like the most expensive dead body prop you've ever seen. And I was just like right next to me while I'm writing dialogue. So it's like even that stuff, I'm like, this is crazy. Everything in it feels more gnarly than what you're used to seeing in these movies.
I agree.
This is good about Professor X too, because again, we consider you a friend in the basement. It would have been awkward if I'm just always hanging out with the guy that ripped my hero's head in half. So as long as you can blame it on the guy, someone else, that's all that is like a motto.
That was just a neck crack, not a neck split. It's like, it's like the MCU I always think about Gamora and Black Widow. It's like, it's always when they at Vormir, when they fall, I'm always like, oh God, the pool of blood. I'm like, that is really a visceral image that I hate every time. So it's like, you
were like, how do we outdo that? Make people hate it even more.
Yeah, exactly. I want everybody to be as disgusted as I was by that.
One thing that we were prepared to be disgusted about, and thankfully we didn't have to worry about this. We were so worried about Wong dying in this movie. And we just want to thank you for not killing off our boy Wong, because we love Wong. We're the #1 Wong podcast in the world. He's invited to my wedding.
Were you close to killing him and being like, I can't go in the basement if I kill Wong, because I know those guys, their stands for the Wong man.
Wong was on the chopping block for sure.
Oh my God.
Wong.
You thought about it?
Was, yeah, the Grim Reaper pack. It was his icy hand. It was like the Zodiac saw him and chose somebody else. But no, he's too great. And there's enough loss and pain in this movie. When he goes off the side of the mountain, we always knew. It's like, I think a smart audience knows, okay, Wong's not dead, because if Wong died, I think you'd feel that more. But it's like, you're like, oh shit, I know if I saw that movie when I was a little kid, I'd be like, he's dead.
Oh yeah. Yeeted him right off the cliff.
As a very dumb person, I was holding my breath the entire time until the credits rolled. And then the post credits, I'm like, I still don't know what this Waldron has cooking. He just ripped Professor X's head in half. So I was holding my breath the entire time.
And honestly, that was the point of that Illuminati sequence, is like, I guess in the same way that the Red Wedding, it's just it feels cliche even to reference that at this point, but it was brilliant. And maybe even killing Ned Stark in Game of Thrones was a better example, where it was just like, oh shit, anything can happen in what I'm watching now. It's like Sean Bean's head just got cut off. So like, I don't, now I'm uncomfortable every moment in this show. Hopefully, and this is what Sam always talked about, after that Illuminati sequence, you are truly terrified of Wanda, and there's no moment you feel safe the rest of the movie.
Great comparison. I love that.
And we've been told time and time again by especially people that read the comics, Wanda's the most powerful. Oh my God, she would decimate all these heroes if she had the chance. She had the chance and she did it. Like, it was actual visual proof. Like, oh no, she is not someone you want to mess with. Another sequence I'd love to bring up, it's a sequence that I haven't been able to get out of my head since I saw the movie, is the music fight at the end. I think that is so unique, so creative. I said it was almost like when I watched the first Strange, I came out of that being like, what a unique way to defeat Dormammu. The guy fucking annoyed him to death. This, I was like, what a unique way to do that fight with the musical notes coming off the page. Where did that idea come from?
Not from me.
Really?
No, that was, dude, like so much of this stuff. It's such a team effort, and that idea specifically was Doug Leffler, who is one of our great storyboard artists who has worked with Sam forever. Doug, I believe, was the storyboard artist behind the Upside Down Kiss and the original Spider-Man.
Wow.
He's an absolute legend. And we just knew that We were like, okay, we've got two Doctor Stranges fighting one another. We don't want it to just be lights, blasty. Our reference was always the Thanos versus Strange fight in Infinity War, which was a great magic fight. And then we also talked about some of the great fights in Rick and Morty. Rick versus Gunk Rick, Rick versus the President, where it's this escalating series of gags. And we really kind of hung on that music note fight. And it's just awesome. And so it was obviously our VFX team, Doug's great boards, and then Danny Elfman collaborated really closely with Sam, building the music for all that. And I love it because it's ultimately like the Killing Blow. It sounds like one of Jango Fett's like cool sonic charges and clones. Like
the way that one note just hits it, and it kind of just explodes.
Yeah, it's like it goes silent, and then so I mean that's awesome. I love that sequence.
Yeah, no, it looks
nothing
so
to
cool
do
in the movie. Well, a little bit to do with you. A little bit. You could take a little bit of credit.
Maybe, yeah.
You put the words to the page.
I was like eating Nando's on the call. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I got to try Nando's for the first time recently. So legit. It lived up to the hype. The peri peri fries. Ooh.
Oh, I was locked down while I was over there. So every meal I ate the entire 5 or 6 months was order in. I like on weekends. There was one I did Nando's like 3 times in a day. It was dark.
God.
Oh my God.
So some things we heard about Moon Knight recently was that Kevin Feige personally suggested some of the costume ideas that came along with it, like the wraps and the stitching that went down Mr. Knight's face. Do you recall anything from this movie that Feige put his little touch on?
Kevin's touch is on everything. I mean, he's so not in an overbearing way, but he's a producer in the weeds with you. Just acting is a great collaborator. He's just another filmmaker there with you. I mean, I think that he was very instrumental in the ultimate Illuminati lineup, I think, and it's like the feeling of like, no, we could go get this person. In terms of like actual costumes, I mean, look, I think it was him advocating for that yellow hover chair.
Oh, wow. That just makes us love him even more. I mean,
my heart is growing by the minute. It's fluttering. My heart, I might be having a heart attack, but it also might be fluttering. I don't know which one. It's one of the two right now.
Yeah. If that had just been the writer and producer in their 30s being like, no, the hover chair is cool, everybody would have been like, fuck off. But when Kevin was like, no, it's awesome. Like he really was all about the nod to the cartoon. And so I give him all the credit for making that real.
I'm trying to figure out a way to ask this without getting you in trouble or, the aggregators going crazy with it. Was there anyone you wanted for the Illuminati, or was there any other guys in the mix there, or was this pretty much a set? I don't know enough about the comics to know if this is like one of the go-to Illuminati, cast listings or whatever, but was there anyone there that you wanted or was close to getting on?
I love the aggregators going. I know I just every sentence I say, I'm like, oh gee, this is going to be a headline on
like you have like a laser pointer on you, like the Marvel snipers.
Comic book deepcuts.gov
I always think of the Jay and Silent Bob, like moviepoopshoot.com.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just so you know, I've already taken your Mephisto line, and I'm using that. Mephisto confirmed for future release, according to the writer of.
Well, that's fine. That's good. I know what I'm doing there. that's deliberate. Movie, by the way, movie Pooch is very prescient. Like that movie saw the future. It reached out and like gave us a vision of culture 10 years in the future in a very haunting way. Honestly, like the lineup we got was so even beyond the pie in the sky version. Like every single person on the council is somebody that like at one point was circled, and it's like, well, if we can just get them, then it feels worth it. And then suddenly you get everybody. And so we were really stoked.
When people are pointing out
Cruise
like Haley Atwell, is this Haley Atwell in the background of Loki? Or are you just thinking like in your mind, like, oh, you just wait, motherfuckers, she's coming in?
I was so excited to get her to work with. She was so to see her in that suit, you know, in the Captain Carter suit. She was so badass. Her and Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel. They were actually able to be there on set together, because a lot of that stuff we had to shoot out of sequence. And so to see them there together and doing those fight scenes and everything, and, you know, to get to collaborate with them on, look, we're bringing these characters into the world for the first time. How, you know, let's make sure we're doing them justice, was an honor, and also just super, super cool.
And then kind of going off the other guys in the suit, you have John Krasinski, which I would love to know if you knew, putting that pen to paper, if that was kind of the pie in the sky, we're going to get John Krasinski. And then you're also seeing the aggregators or all the idiots on Reddit like me who are like, Tom Cruise is Iron Man. And you're like, all right, guys, we got some good news. I got some bad news for you guys here.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I'm remembering, I don't even know if I'm allowed to go into detail on these guys right now, but you're gonna actually see the laser. This wall is gonna get painted red with my blood. But
what mouth? And your mouth just disappears. They have like literally Scarlet Witch is behind the camera right
exactly. Yeah, what aggregators? But no, I mean, I knew it was cool to know we were delivering on something so big, so anticipated with Reed, and then yeah, with the Tom Cruise of it all, I was like, I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah, if he wants to come in the movie, yeah.
I was like that'd be awesome. I hope nobody's going to the movie just because they want to see Tom Cruise. If they are, you know, I'm bummed out.
Go see Maverick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but in 2 weeks, I got news for you. There's something really good coming out.
All right, before we get you out of here, we just got to ask, how's that Star Wars script coming along?
It's good, man. It's coming along.
And you know, just for future reference, you see these arms. If you need a protocol droid in the background, I could fit into one of those tiny suits. I know I've told you before, but I'll stay in shape for the movie.
I'll be a Hut. I'll stay out of shape for the movie. I'll be a Hut. He could be a protocol droid. We're going to be good.
You know, I was actually at Disneyland yesterday. I went for the first time, and I went to Galaxy's Edge, and I was in the droid store just because 3PO is probably my favorite character. And they had a 3PO like doll, and it was like a fat 3PO. I was like, look at this dumpy 3PO. Like, what is he? What's he got going on here?
He survived all 9, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna start eating.
Yeah,
let myself go.
He really let it go. So
how was Galaxy's Edge otherwise? Was it sick? I haven't been. Clem hasn't been either.
It is amazing. It is like, I was like, this, it's just so big and real. It's really cool. And they got Kylo Ren walking around with some stormtroopers doing bits behind him. It's like, it felt like it was really fun. It was actually to see, and also to see Star Wars through like a bunch of kids' eyes. And it's like, how do they curate it for kids? Like how much it really is about the wonder and the fun. It's just good. I don't know, man. That's Star Wars. People love it.
People love it. We're two of those people.
I have one question about Star Wars for you, Michael. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Jar Jar the Gungan? Have you ever heard of Darth Jar Jar, the Darth Jar Jar theory?
I have, but I want to hear you tell it.
Tell it? Well, according to Reddit and the internet aggregators and a bunch of weird people on the internet, the original Phantom Menace was supposed to be Jar Jar Binks, as we would learn in episode 2. And then due to the absolutely horrid reception to Jar Jar Binks in episode 1, they had to kind of pivot. That's why Count Dooku comes in, and it kind of feels half-baked as a villain. And the actor who played Jar Jar has, confirmed that he was supposed to be the villain. I did a whole blog on it on Barstool. I completely subscribe to it. I realize this is the Star Wars version of QAnon. However, I am too far down this rabbit hole to turn around now. And I just want to say, if in this movie you want to make a reference about a Gungan that might have been a Sith Lord, that something happened along the way, I will fully support it.
Well, Clem, what if it's just the longest game? He's,
Yes.
it's a generation spanning long play.
The Jar Jar saga. This goes beyond the Skywalker saga.
Have you guys seen? I think it's a Tony Millionaire comic or something. It's Jar Jar's dad. You guys seen that it's George R. Binks. It's it's a canonized thing. Look it up. It's Jar Jar, and it's the story of Jar Jar as a child is with his mom and his dad, and they're shipwrecked on a desert island. And his dad, in a moment, he's so hopeless that they're never going to survive. His dad tries to take his own life.
Oh my
goodness! He puts a gun to his head and tries to look it up. Look at George R. B. You're seeing it right now. That's the look of him.
I see Clem's face. Yeah, he's reading it.
And his wife is like, George, and he's on the ground, but he missed because he's goddamn big.
He can't even shoot himself in the head. Anyways, that's the kind of Star Wars content that I'm drawing on. As I work.
We have officially, like you said, he would have spoiler for all the Star Wars fans. Jar Jar would have outlived all the Skywalkers at that point, right? Based on how it's gone, episodes 1 through 9.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm excited. I wasn't excited beforehand about my favorite writer making a Star Wars movie. Now I'm definitely excited.
It's the loose change of Jar Jar Binks.
And throw in a little holiday special reference from my guy Bob, Boba Fett running a dinosaur or something, and he'll be thrilled.
All right, Waldron. Thank you again for the time. Congrats on all the success. We can't wait to hear about this Star Wars movie.
Fellas, it's great to see y'all.
Let's get to 1 billion. Let's get to 1 billion. See you guys. Hey, Clem, good job. Nice little Mets season you got going, right? I was gonna say something about the Bravos and congratulations, right? Are you a Bravos fan?
Yeah.
So I was gonna say it. I don't quite mean it, but Ronald Acuna is the coolest goddamn superstar of all time. He's like Ken Griffey Jr. He's the modern Ken Griffey Jr. So I will say you're like a Braves fan I like. So congratulations to you. Many years in the making.
I know. Yeah, we both had to really hold our noses to get that to get that exchange of respect. But yeah, man, I appreciate it.
I hope we don't do an interview in October, down the road, and then we're just like, oh, it's so nice to see you, Michael. It's game 3 tonight.
All right, guys. I'll
good.
see y'all.